All right. So, well, before we get started on everything, how is life?
God.
All right. All right. So, why don't we start with you telling me who you are and the role that you played in our version of Othello?
I'm Jesse Dylan Baxter.
Hi, my name is Erin Butcher.
I am Becca Weigel.
So I am Dawn Tucker.
And I played Othello.
I played Iago.
I played Desdemona.
And I was lucky enough to assistant direct Othello at TheatriKids.
But it wasn't just like that. That just doesn't cover what you did. So
I have a master's of letters in Shakespeare and Renaissance literature in performance from Mary Baldwin University in conjunction with the American Shakespeare Center. So my master's degree is literally in how to perform Shakespeare.
see, I wouldn't have gotten that right, but
So if I'm being honest, I think I auditioned for Desdemona because that was the show Theatricos was doing, and I was like, okay, I like being in shows. And actually I ended up, it was a really difficult role for me. I think I had some trouble connecting with the character. That was rough for me, getting past like my nervousness about it.
But that was
So-
probably good, though, because, the character, for those people who aren't aware, she's wrongly accused of cheating on her husband. And it's all part of this plot that Iago sets in motion. And she is not an unfaithful person at all.
Right.
And yet, her honor is kind of dragged through the mud, and in the end she tragically is killed by her husband.
Mhm.
So it was probably good that you were able to internalize, gosh, this is not you. It's not the way you live your life, and you did a fairly decent job, as I recall. And probably happens with every director. You always get nailed for, oh, come on, you know who's going to play what part, and I have to honestly say you were the right choice. I mean, beyond just
like stats, demographics, yeah.
right. It was like I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that role. You were just, when you walked out in that uniform, I was like, there he is. That's the general. You were so clean cut, and you looked like you were in the military.
Yeah.
I wish you would have had all this military information when we were doing the show.
I know.
You would have helped us. You would have said, no,
Right.
they're not. They don't wear that. You don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Even being in ROTC, I was just going back and watching the performance, and I'm like, oh, never would have had an untucked shirt, never would have not had a jacket on outside,
That's what happens when a pacifist directs a military play.
Understandable, completely understandable.
First of all, you came in as a favor to me, just to, hey, we're going to be doing these auditions. Would you sit in and let me know what you think? And you were happy to do that, and that was great. And then you were like, hey, do you need any help? Because you obviously saw like the deer in the headlights look. And you were like, yeah, I better help this guy out, or else it's just burn. And then you came on.
What I saw was the incredible amount of talent that you had in those kids, and I was so jazzed that I needed to work with them.
And she did very well, BTW.
I'm so good at playing a psychopath. I know.
I don't know. I wouldn't say psychopath. I would say Iago knew what he wanted. It was a chess game, and he was playing it very well.
He was playing it very well. I mean, in the end, ultimately, he did topple the queen, if we're going to talk about it in terms of chess. But he had his king captured, so you know what? Ultimately, I think he lost, but he played really well. He took out a lot of characters.
Yeah.
As something that was really prevalent for us in the play, you know, we were focusing on the idea that Othello is a Moor, which means that he's Muslim, and at the time there was a lot of xenophobia around Muslims. I was kind of simultaneously representing a part of my identity and learning something about a different identity. So I was able to sort of show up as the black half and sort of represent that for Flagstaff, which Flagstaff desperately needed, and probably still needs. It's been a while since I've been back, but I can imagine. While at the same time learning about and being able to honor the Muslim side. So for me, it was a great moment of being able to like take the stage and kind of lean into stories that I wanted to see more in Flagstaff, while also finding like little bits of places where I could educate myself more about other cultures and other experiences.
Yeah, I recall just how amazed I was at your the homework that you had done. I mean, we always ask people in the play, yes, learn your lines, and you did that you did, and you did well. I remember when I had this idea of using the 5 calls to prayer, because there are 5 acts in Othello, using that as kind of the framing device. And I think I probably said to you, hey, we'll probably have you do a call to prayer, or we'll get it taped. And you said, well, you came in and you knew it. And
Yeah.
so you at the very beginning of the show, that call to prayer, that's you. That's not a taped voice. And I was just so impressed that you took it upon yourself to learn that, to take it into your character, to really inhabit that character, and made it much more believable than if I just said, hey, here are some extra lines for you to say.
It's always been interesting to me that things like that pop up in Shakespeare plays that seem like they're directly tied to what's happening now. You know, like Othello is a military story. It's a story about a Black Muslim man. And in a lot of ways, the things that we're talking about today are, when it comes to xenophobia and Islamophobia, it's military in nature. With a lot of the unrest and Black Lives Matter movements going on right now, it's dealing with race, and that was all already in Shakespeare 400 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that it was written when it was written, because the audience that saw it when it was originally written was probably as lily white as our Flagstaff audiences usually are. So it was pretty amazing that he had, I don't know if it's the foresight or, you know, whatever it is, that he had that initiative to take on those matters.
It was pretty bizarre to see the comparisons to just like the way that people like Iago were trying to tear down Othello's station because of his identity, and like seeing those parallels in the world. I think around that time was when I was becoming a lot more aware of the Black experience elsewhere, through other literature and through hearing what else was going on throughout the country. So I think I was like recognizing how long a lot of the things in Othello have been going on, and I think that led to me taking the whole thing a lot more seriously. You know, like TheatriKids could have done a Shakespearean comedy, could have like done the old language, shown up for the people who like all the parents and everyone who would go see the show, and go, okay, well, here's your kid speaking Shakespeare, but there was like the very specific racial and religious implications we were trying to make, and that made it hit harder, I think, for me.
I will always cherish that production because of working alongside of you, and it was just a special time. So thank you. Well, whatever theater you end up acting at, I know they're going to be lucky to get you, because you're an amazing person. When you're back in town, please stop by and say hi.
Yeah, I'll let you know. It might be a little bit, since I don't know when I'm going to be on a plane again, but...
Oh, you were such kids.
Yep.
Thanks for watching this look back at Othello, and I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look. Right now, as a special treat, we have arranged with the estate of William Shakespeare the ability for you to watch our production of Othello. If you follow the link right here, you can see it in its entirety. I hope you enjoyed this look back, and we'll see you soon.